Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And today is a Wow Wednesday morning, isn't it? I'm going to be bringing on our guest today, Peggy Lee Hanson, and she's going to be sharing this about stories of these 8 courageous women coming through all walks of life, sharing their lessons. So we're going to have an amazing conversation with Peggy Lee. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the happenings in our country right now. Today, I chose the color purple for my shirt. And coincidentally, so did my guest. Today, regardless of who you were rooting for, hoping for, praying for to win the election, let's keep in mind that red and blue, when they come together, make purple. And that's the most important thing for us right now. How can we come together to move forward together as a collective for the benefit and good of all? I invite you, work through whatever emotions you're feeling, whether you're on the whole edge of glee and victory, or whether you're feeling defeated and sad and worried, wherever you are on that spectrum of emotion, come back to the place where we get to honor one another as human beings and stand together to move forward. So that is my wish and my prayer. Take whatever processes you need to process your emotions, and let's move forward in a positive way. So with that, welcome Peggy Lee Hanson.
Thank you, Nancy. And thank you for all being here.
Yes, and thank you. Welcome to all of our guests today as well. And I think it's absolutely perfect that today we're going to be talking about courage. Peggy Lee is a publisher and an award-winning publisher, best-selling author, speaker. She's known as the Divinely Sent Book Whisperer, and she has created a series of books, anthology books called Courage Under Siege. And it's really fitting that today we're going to have a conversation about how to be courageous, regardless of what happens in your life, what happens to you to transform into what happens for you. And that's another great message for all of us this morning. So Peggy Lee, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm delighted that you're with us today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good to be here, especially on a day after the election. Who knew, that we were going to be in this spot? Courage takes all kinds. It takes people to speak up, speak out, and the courage of the women that shared their stories throughout the whole anthology series. There are 50 now of 50 women who have shared their stories, inside this anthology. So it's not just 8 today, but it was 11 the first time, it was 7, it was 5, it was 8, and so I'm on volume 7 of this series.
Amazing.
And it just I am truly amazed by these women who have brought so much courage, so much honor back into their lives for what they have gone through. It's truly amazing. It's truly inspirational.
And I know for me that when I am feeling defeated, struggling, challenged, going through obstacles myself, it is oftentimes the stories of other people who've made it through something similar or something even more challenging that give me the courage and the inspiration to, pick myself up, dust off, and find clues in how other people have overcome challenges and had courage in the face of adversity. That helps me see a path forward out of the darkness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And for me too, you know, not everything that's happened to them has happened to me. And it's, but I still can relate to their story in some
Mm-hmm.
way. Something resonates that I needed to hear that particular story at the time. And that it resonates and it can move me forward in some way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I want to take a step back. You say this is the seventh volume of Courage Under Siege. And by the way, everyone, this new book is set to be released. What's the release date for the new book?
Next Tuesday, November 12th, which is National Chicken Soup for the Soul Day.
Oh, how perfect. I didn't even know that was
Mhm.
a day.
I didn't either until I looked it up. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Good marketing, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen,
mhm,
for sure.
mhm.
So it's a day for telling your stories, right?
Right,
All right. So
right.
everybody, be on the lookout for the information on how you can get this book, and we'll share some ways for you to get on the notification list in a little bit. Let's rewind to the very first volume of this series. And maybe you didn't even know it was going to be a series, right? You did the very first book. What was the inspiration, or how did that come to you that this is important?
Oh, um, I was a Toastmaster. I am a Toastmaster. You're once a Toastmaster, always a Toastmaster. But I was heavily involved with being a Toastmaster at that time. And I was involved with the leadership portion of that organization, which meant that I was a division governor and area governor throughout my reign. And in that, I would go to hear speeches that other members would give because
Hmm.
they offer contests twice a year, a humorous speech contest and the international speech contest. And so I would hear so many stories. And I was sitting there and thinking all these stories. I think one particular story, it was about a woman who survived divorce and that she got, she found the love of her life years later, happily married, but still it was a sad tale that she had to go through this divorce. And I was thinking, there's so many good stories that don't get to go on to that next stage. How can I capture those stories? Well, then it was like a, palm to the forehead and, saying, duh, you're a publisher. You can put something together like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I created The Courage Under Siege, and I had it ready, sitting to launch or to gather people into it, and for about a year and a half. But I just wasn't really ready to put that forth. And another WPN member, Geeta Krishnan,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, she had a podcast show called Gratitude Thursdays. And I was on her show, and she says, well, I see on your profile that you have this book coming out soon called Courage Under Siege. Tell me about it. I was not ready. I was not prepared for it at all. And by the end of that call, I had two people say that they were signing up for it. So I knew I
Wow.
had to get something together then.
Hmm.
Little did I know um, that it was going to be a series, but I had put on volume one on the cover, not
Some
knowing,
part of you knew.
yeah, maybe.
You're like, oh, who put that there? Oh, my higher self. Okay.
Absolutely. So, and then volume 2 came on, and I published a bunch of angel intuitives, and that did so well. I published another volume of angel intuitives,
Mm,
and so to tell their stories,
yeah,
about how because people don't believe them when they're little, and they see angels running around,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
around the Christmas tree, or they are fantastical in their ideas that, they go to Gettysburg and release souls, the Civil War soldiers into, back into the ether.
Wow.
That can't be. But people were writing their true stories, and to see whether or not they could land and they could talk about their future. So it's
And
an amazing
yeah.
experience, just,
Well,
to be
so
part
here's
of this.
so for you, I know like it fills your heart and your spirit to be able to create a vehicle for people to share what's inside of them. And when we talk about the types of stories that you include in the books, oftentimes these are things people don't talk about. They're hidden little secrets they might be ashamed of. I remember Carol Vinci is in one of
Hmm.
your, I don't remember which one, and it doesn't matter except if you want to get the book. We'll let you know. um, but Carol came out of the closet, so to speak, about ADHD and
Hmm.
attention deficit disorder, which she saw for too long as a hindrance, and then realized it's actually her superpower when she had the
Hmm.
courage to talk about it with your guidance. And now she helps other people that might be hiding,
Absolutely.
right? So that's the
Yeah.
benefit of all of this.
Yeah. And she's turned it into a business for
Yeah.
herself.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. So for the audience today, now we're going to tell you a little bit more about the women in this current volume, but there's somebody listening. And so right now I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And you have some story, some secret perhaps, something you think is holding you back. Um, the invitation for you is to seek a way to share that story so that it can have its transformative powers for you as well as somebody else. So, Peggy Lee, I know that you've created some, and this is part of the process that you guide your authors to help them through the emotional aspects of sharing your story. So, this series that Peggy Lee does isn't just about go into ChatGPT and say, write me a story about this. No, no, no. No, no, no. This comes from your heart, right? And so the process of working with you in this chapter writing experience, you do way more than just help them write a chapter. You're guiding them through the emotions as they reveal their story.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely. Because,
yeah.
a few people have said, I don't think I can get through this. I've tried to, and so we talk a little bit, and I just let them know it's okay. And if they want to write about something else, they certainly can. But to come back to it, to see what's really inside their heart,
Hmm.
and it was a question that I asked Carol, what does your heart say that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
And it was the ADHD. And I said,
That's
so there you go.
Yeah, that's the answer. So, you've created something called a chapter writing guide. And I'd like you to hit on a couple of points about that because, like I said, you're listening right now. You're like, I have a story I need to tell, but I don't know how. This free chapter writing guide is going to support you. So, can you take us through some of the aspects, and then I'll let them know how they can get it as well.
Sure. The free chapter writing guide is a guide to help you to write a chapter, or it can even be to write a speech. You can
Mm,
you can interchange that into whatever the end result is. But it contains 5 elements that I deemed necessary and that I deem necessary for my authors to succeed. And so that they would have the same level of message throughout the anthology series. So the 5 elements are, you have to have a message. And the message is that you don't have to, this can be for yourself, for something, that means that's something important to you. And then there's a quote. A quote would be, a famous quote, a not so famous quote. It can be one of your quotes that you say all the time. But it describes the overall chapter message of what you want to say. And then comes the backstory. The backstory is important because if people don't know where you came from, they're not going to understand where you end up, the end result.
And a lot of times in this, when we look at our past experiences, especially if they were very difficult or challenging, people don't like to talk about them. Like, I don't want to speak about the negative stuff. Well, don't think of it as negative. It was negative at the time, but it's not negative now. And we need to tell it to be the bridge for people to have understanding. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's of course, then comes the main story. The bulk of what you want to say, the happiness that you have found, the strategy behind your process. If you've got steps 1 through 10, this is the time to tell it. So many things can come about for that. And then finally you have the wrap up. So, and this is kind of like easing into the call to action that you want your reader to hear. I always end up with the last line of, someone is waiting to hear what you have to say. Don't make them wait any longer, because it is that one person that might read your story that you heal.
That's right.
And unbeknownst to you at all. So that is the main points of my story, of the chapter
Beautiful.
writing.
So I just put the link in the chat, and I'll also put it for everybody that's with us on Facebook. The link is very simple. Go to freechapterwritingguide.com. freechapterwritingguide.com. Just enter your contact information, and then you'll get this beautiful guide. And I really want to encourage everyone, go through this process, whether you've already written a book, whether you've contributed to another book, and maybe you have one story already told. You have many stories in your life. And use this as a process, like Peggy Lee said, to create a presentation, a speech, to write a chapter. Maybe it'll be part of a blog series. You could do a 5-part blog series about your story, or a video series if you're going to put it on. Like, there's lots of ways for you to use this structure to connect with your audience. And when I say your audience, I'm talking, it's a marketing term, but your audience is maybe that one person, like Peggy Lee said, that is suffering with the exact challenge that you've overcome. That your audience is the group of people who look up to you. And by you sharing your vulnerability and your truth, they just feel a little bit closer. So they're more likely to want to work with you. There's so many reasons to put your stories out there and to share. So go to freechapterwritingguide.com. All right. Now, I want to talk a little bit. And by the way, when you go ahead and register for that, Peggy Lee will send an email letting you know when you can go ahead and grab the new book and all that good stuff, and help the authors get to a bestseller status next week, which of course they're going to, because it's an amazing book. Tell us a little bit about some of the authors in the book.
Well, let's see. the this book, I had to put a warning on it, a trigger warning, because they
Ah,
are so intense stories. They are stories of rape,
mm,
incest, um, just, just so such profound, and it doesn't come from one person. This is the amazing part that I am that totally knocks my socks off. People that don't know each other come together to write their chapters, and once they write their chapters and I read them first, they say the same words, they have the same phrases,
mm,
the stories are very similar. There is a theme that comes together, that comes after they are written, and it always works that way. And I think that was one thing that really truly amazed me at
mhm,
how these women so far apart, different parts of the country. I've got even Valerie Ritchie in from
mhm.
London this
Yeah.
year, and and they just have the same theme. And people say, well, how come, I don't know what you want me to write because you don't have a theme. I don't want you to write because I have a theme. I don't want you to write, because there is a theme. You will write what you want to write, what you feel most compelled to write at
Mhm.
that time, and there will be a theme that emerges, and one that's
Amazing.
not known to anybody until the end. So it's amazing. Um, Susie Pruden, wrote in my book.
Yeah.
She said that this process was so inspirational to her. She just really liked the way that it was put together, everything, every step of the way that I hold them, throughout
Hmm. Hmm.
writing their chapter, throughout the process.
You know what I
Um,
love about that in particular, for those who don't know, Susie Pruden is the publisher and founder of Itty Bitty Book Publishing, and she does anthologies and she does book publishing. So I love that the process that you offered through Courage Under Siege gave way for another expression of Susie Pruden, right? And because she's brilliant at the publishing that she does, right? And
yeah.
with itty bitty books, and I think you're in her book, right?
Yes. Yes, I am. And I love
Collaboration at its
being,
best.
and I love being part of her book because it taught me a different process of writing, as I taught Susie a different process
Yeah.
to writing. And,
Hmm.
so my uh quest to you all is to get in as many anthology series as you can, because you not and you can tell the different story, or you can tell the same
Yeah.
story, just so that you get out there and known. And as you write each story, you become more well-rounded, more inspirational to others, and it's
Hmm.
just, it's an experience.
Yeah.
I
And
even wrote my story in this one. So,
ooh,
so that might be a little bit of play. So
yeah.
I wrote about a financial story that plagued my life for 35 years,
Wow. And set you
a
free.
long time, and set
Yeah.
me free. So,
All right, so go mark the date, put it in your calendar, in your notes, set a reminder that on Tuesday, November 12th is when you'll be able to get the new book, and then sign up for freechapterwritingguide.com. Use that for yourself, and it will also put you on the notification list so that as soon as the book is ready, it's easy for you to find because Peggy Lee's going to email you about it, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right. So can you share? We're going to open up for questions in just a few minutes. So kind of as a prompt for questions, you know, this is an international best-selling award-winning publisher and author. If you've ever thought about writing a book, if you've got a story inside you that you don't know if it's worth it, because that's a big thing that comes up. Who wants to hear my story? My story's not that important, right? You know, every story matters. So when we open up for questions, use this opportunity to ask some questions of Peggy Lee, to see how you can get your story out there. That would be my suggestion. And while we wait for some people to come in queue, my friend, tell us the names of the authors in this new book.
Okay. So Angela Hall, and she shares I Am Enough.
Mm.
Debbie Wilhelm, I Found My Voice. Michelle Joy Smith, Growing Up Without Joy. Kathleen Hendrickson, Giving Voice to My Authentic Self.
Now, she's been in a few of your books, hasn't she?
This is her third time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
What is
each time is different.
and so goes to, we have many stories to tell. I personally am in probably up to somewhere between 15 and 20. I probably should keep track a little bit better. Um, 15 to 20 different anthology books,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's really important that you keep going. So what's the name of Kathleen's new story? Because I'm typing them in the chat for everybody.
Giving Voice to My Authentic Self.
Mm, awesome.
Megan McSwain, Put to Flames, Become Ash, I Rise.
Ooh, nice.
Peggy Lee Hanson, My Big Secret.
Mm.
Susie Pruden, Remember the Magic.
So good. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm listening to all these stories.
Valerie J. Ritchie, From Silence to Symphony.
Ooh, I love
So
it.
you can even see the themes coming together, through the titles. So it's amazing, and each one. I'm the publisher. I have to read the stories over and over again, and each time I'm just, it's like I get goosebumps. I
Mhm,
just,
mhm.
it's just, oh my gosh, you know, it's such an inspirational, deepening series and it gives you a sense of pride. How
Mm.
I am so proud of these women for telling their stories to begin with, and just just to come out and be courageous and brave and to share what they've gone through. um it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't think of another
So
word
good.
except for amazing.
Yep,
I
yep,
say
yep.
amazing a lot, and then said one of these days I'm gonna figure out a different word for amazing.
It's, I think amazing works. It's like, like when I think of the word amazing, it's like I look up at the heavens, right? Ah, it's amazing. And that's the breath, like a hot dog is not amazing. And I steal that from Eddie Izzard, just by the way. Like, a hot dog is good and tasty and delicious or disgusting, whatever you think about it. But amazing to me, like that's the heavens or the massive ocean or sunset, right?
Yeah, yeah. The title of the book is Courage Under Siege, and it will be available next Tuesday on Amazon. And I will share the links and things. So if you're on my email list, you'll get all the information. And if you're not on my email list, let me know. You can send me text or an email at PeggyLee@PeggyLeeHanson.com, and I'll get you on my list so that you know have all the information. And of course, Facebook, I'll have all the information. So
Yeah. So definitely get on her list and go to freechapterwritingguide.com. Get this amazing resource taking you through the 5 elements of a good chapter, a good story, a good book, a good presentation. So grab it, freechapterwritingguide.com. You'll get on the list. And then when she sends out the notifications next week, you'll have it, boom, easy access to get the book from her. All right, we have got expert publisher, author, international speaker, Toastmaster. Your what's your catchphrase? You have a really good moniker. Oh, you're divinely sent. Listen to this. Your divinely sent book whisperer. She's a book whisperer sent from the divine just for you. So join us right now. What questions do you have about doing your own story or anything along those lines? So I see our friend Mary Jane Charles has her hand up.
I do. So I have so many stories in my head, and they all many need to be told. You'll hear the rest when you meet me, and I tell them anyway. But anyway, so we got last wishes and support. Personally, I'm still selling it, but I want to get beyond that story. I have more going on than that. So we would construct a story. I already have it titled, of a different genre entirely. And so do you request that people have similar stories, or do they, is it kind of freelance in the book? I mean, these Courage Under Siege speaks for itself, but an upcoming book that would have other kinds of stories. And as I speak, I realize the story I'm talking about would fit in there as well. Will you have a series of Courage Under Siege, perhaps?
I do have the series, and each book are different stories. Okay. I do not hinder you from writing what story you wish to write. Okay. Because eventually it'll fit in with the title and the subtitle, which the subtitle to this one is Trauma to Transformation. Okay. But the others are from adversity to victory, from bewilderment to enlightenment. So, I mean, that's just a few of the subtitles. Okay. So whichever story that you would want to write will fit. Okay. It's just something that God, source, Gus, gives you the opportunity to write, so that you're all coming together and you will all fit. It's so spiritual of an experience. Yeah. It's not like any that I ever thought I would have in a book.
Thank you. Great.
Looking forward to it, Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Just a plug here, pardon me. I went through the Master Key series with Peggy Lee, and it is stupendous. It's long and you'll be drained at times, but this too is an incredible series, book and chapters. So there you go, Peg.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
Yep.
Yeah, Mary Jane, I'm sensing some emotions swelling up for you. What's that about?
Oh, they're all over the place.
You're emotionally tender to start with today.
Yeah, I am. I should, quit while I'm ahead. Let me do that.
I think that's good. And part of the reason I commented on that is the story I made up about it was, as you started thinking about the different stories you want to tell, like, they're emotional. The stories that you're going to share, it's going to bring up emotion. And emotion, emotion is energy in motion. And isn't that what we want for our stories to be able to do, to have energy to them that transfers and touches people's lives?
Sure, absolutely. Pardon me, it will be about my sister Judy, who was schizophrenic from the time I was 9. And
Wow.
they're all gone now. And comically, well, it's survivor humor here. Judy, at one point in her life, we moved Judy down to Texas because assisted livings were much less expensive than in New York. And my brother lived there. She didn't go to Texas by herself. Patrick was down there. Well, they're both gone now. And but there were 5 of us. We all spent time with Judy, and there were so many stories over so many years. But in the wake of her passing, and I thought about this for a long time, there were times when the fog of the disease would dissipate, and you would have the real person in front of you. And that's as far as I can go.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. And you know what? I think thank you for sharing your vulnerability today, Mary Jane, and Peggy Lee as well. And here's the thing. When we keep secrets inside of us, not only are they harmful to us, it's like poison within us, but it's also harmful to the fabric of humanity, where we can learn to accept all the things that happen without judgment. And I think that's part of the path of learning we're all on. And the series that you've put together is a pathway for healing. Yeah.
The beauty of it, because Judy was so very sick and it was so misunderstood in the 60s, say, here's another pill. Yikes. That almost the out of the words of babes, you know how honest children can be, and everybody's like, oh my God, you know, they just put you on the floor. Judy could do the same thing. She'd be in the same room with everybody chatting, and you would think she couldn't listen or wasn't listening. And up would pop Jude with a one-liner and just nail it, you know. My mother would sit there, oh dear God, but she was hysterical, you know. So there are funny moments in the worst.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
All right, Mary Jane, thank you so much. And yes, we're looking forward to hearing and reading your stories, as well as many of you out here. So if you've got an idea, you got a story, Michael Sue says we are only as sick as our secrets. So it's time to clear those secrets so that you can move forward into healing and wholeness. Feel free to ask questions. We'll be here for a few more minutes. I see the fabulous Susan Witten has her hand up.
She does. And the first thing she wants to say is, howdy do, everybody. Happy Wow Wednesday.
Howdy do, Susan.
I got to get my howdy do in there. I was running a little behind today. Taking too much advantage of that extra hour we've been given. Anyway, first of all, I want to let everybody know how, I have to say amazing. I don't think it's a misused word when I talk about Peggy Lee. Peggy Lee was able to really draw my story, one of my stories out of me, and get me published. It was actually the second time I was published, but there was many years in between. And just the way Peggy, you do what you do, is unique. And it makes it easy. I always in my mind used to have the story that said, oh, that's too difficult. I don't know what to write. I had all kinds of stories going on, but you dispelled all of those myths that I had made up. So thank you for that. The other thing, yeah, and I have a question too. So with the chapter writing guide, what came to me is that might be, and that's why I'm asking, a good thing to use, not only to write your chapter in a book, but maybe to put together a training to structure it, you know, because as you were talking, that's what I was thinking, because really that's what training is, right? So do you agree that that's something that would help people do? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
That's what I never looked at it that way till today, but that's what I heard today. Yeah. So thank you for validating that.
You are welcome. And I do have a training for that. So That's awesome.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing. And that's another great idea. So, if you're with us listening live or to the replay and you have not yet gotten this gift from Peggy Lee, go to freechapterwritingguide.com and grab it because you do have a story worth telling for sure. Awesome. Let's go next to Dr. Smile Roz Knight Warfield. Oh, girl, I've missed you. Pour into me.
Peggy Lee Hanson. You know, the month of November is my mother's birthday. And it's always really sensitive, but I have been away. But the good thing about being away, my hubby is walking. If some of you follow me on Facebook, he's got I call him the bionic left hip man. So he is here. Honey, say hi to WPN. Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Hi, honey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I've been away, but starting off November back. And, you know, even when you're disconnected, let me tell you who the winner is Susan Winner. Because we pray for her schedule, because she is like the GPS of WPN. I just pray for the strength in her and her replenishment every single day that she operates as the stealth background of this organization. So Susan Winter, I love you. Peggy, I just want to say you are loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. So today has been an update to keep pressing, pushing, praying, and praising to get the next book out. Nancy, I'm like you. I've lost count and I need to do better. I've got so many chapters in the anthologies, but I pray for those of you who are in anthologies that you will use our teammates who understand publishing, who have been through it, to get your solo book out also. The anthologies, I would call it as stepping stones, but I love anthologies. Remember Og Mandino, his University of Success? Yeah. That was really like the first, really the second, because the Bible to me is an anthology also. But the Og Mandino,
I like it.
Yeah, the Og Mandino was my first, and I've always loved that. But I had a little secret voice say, "You're hiding behind the chapters. I want you to complete that thing that you and I know you need to get out to the world." So I just wanted to share that, Peggy Lee. I did go do the chapter thing, but what I'm doing with what you give to us is to help me to complete chapter after chapter for the next solo book. And I will
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, Roz.
I will see how to communicate with you for a consultation and see what that investment is to just complete that. But this gave me a different spin. I wasn't going to say anything, and but I had to make it official that all of WPN is loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. I love you, Peggy Lee. I love you, Nancy, and to the all. And Nancy, I like this new look because we will only see you and the speaker, and now I see all my sisters. So I like this. And then I can download the chat to go find the wonderful shares. So I love y'all. Y'all have a God amazing day. Ciao for now.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Dr. Roz. You are beautiful, highly blessed and favored, and kudos to your hubby taking some steps. It's awesome. Good.
Yeah. And it works both ways. People come to the Courage Under Siege series in testing out to see whether or not they have something that they can write a book about. A lot of people, I have 2 people, 3 people in this particular series that are writing their full entire book. So they do come to at least, get the feel of how to write the full thing. But then I have opposite people who have written a full book and just want to contribute a chapter, something of a story that they, like in Mary Jane's case, they want to tell a different story, but it doesn't go exactly along lines of what they do normally. So it gives them an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. Thank you for all you do to support us getting our stories out there in many ways. You'll notice on her bookshelf behind her is The One Philosophy, because she is my publisher as well for the 10th anniversary edition of The One Philosophy. And working with you was, joyous in all of that. So wherever you are thinking about writing a story, contributing to a chapter, reach out to Peggy Lee, because as you can feel, she brings heart, wisdom, and expertise to support you in getting your story out there. So very exciting. So make sure you grab freechapterwritingguide.com so that you get the gift and can start putting your stories together, as well as get on her email list so that you get notified as soon as the book is ready, which will be Tuesday, November the 12th. Courage Under Siege, Volume 7, From Trauma to Transformation. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. Good. I was listening carefully. All right. Any other questions or comments before we wrap up from our audience? We have a couple of minutes. If you have something else to bring to Peggy Lee. And as we wrap up here, any final thoughts that you want to share with our audience today, my friend?
Just do it. If you're in the wings, kind of waiting like for next year, next year is going to come really soon here, just do it.
Love it.
That's what I say. And so there's just so much. And I love Susie's chapter title. And I think about this all the time. Remember the magic. Remember the magic.
So good. Remember the magic. We love you here at WPM, Peggy Lee Hanson. Thank you for all you do and all you are in your being. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for letting me come on today.
My pleasure and my purpose. So with that, my friends, we're going to wrap up today's Wow Wednesday. Get out there, make it an amazing day. That's the word of the morning, apparently. And remember the magic. You hold it, Dorothy. Click those little heels. You've got the power. You got the power. Okay.
You got the power.
I love you all very much. Get out there. Have an amazing day. We'll see you again next week for Wow Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.